It's 9 o'clock. Friends, delegates. Friends, delegates, it's 9 o'clock. Please take your seat.
Countries in the room, 49 representatives. What? Ah, come on. Yeah, because Spain is represented in the river.
So please don't get nervous. We want to give you more time for proper preparation. So we have a little bit of delay because we had rehearsals, everything works well. And as always, if we want to start, the screen is broken, but we want to show to you some videos, and that's why I ask for your understanding to wait still a little bit until we have fixed the problem. So good news, they identified the problem and they hope to solve it in the next couple of minutes. Otherwise, we are going straight to a coffee break. So I want to apologize for delay. We will shorten our speeches, so less boring speeches today to finish in time. A very warm welcome to you, to the representatives of 109 national federations, to the 2022 ICF Congress in the land of Smile in Thailand. Time has flown since our last Congress in Rome, and we can look back on another successful year for our federation. We have organized very successful in 2022 34 ICF World Cups and World Championships. We were able to achieve new live streaming record figures in some of our disciplines. We can present during our Congress a strategy for our future. We are working on new events in the virtual field. We have a new Secretary General. Welcome, Richard. And with our new leadership elected last year in Rome, we have been able to maintain our strong position in the Olympic movement. And I'm happy that we as a new leadership team have been able to continue the successful work of our predecessors. I'm grateful to our honorary president that he has supported us and me in these difficult times with advice and action, and I admit that I have often asked him for advice during the last 12 months. A very warm welcome to our honorary president, Jose Pachi Perorena. And I'm happy to see many women here, not enough, I know, but more than a few years ago. For the first time in Tokyo, we welcomed an equal number of women and men to the Olympic Games, and for the first time we had as many events for women and men in the Olympic program. It has been a long road to achieve gender equality, and we are far away from having reached the end of it. And someone who has particularly committed to gender equity, who has fought in the past many battles for equal rights in our federation on all levels, against much opposition, and who is still rightly telling us off, is our guest here today. Welcome, dear ICF honorary member Helen Brownlee. Welcome, of course, all our friends, stakeholders, national federations. 61 are present here, 48 are joining our Congress online, and I'm almost sure that also our former leaders, Frank Garner and Don McKenzie, joining us online from Canada. Welcome to all of you. A special thanks already now for the excellent organization of this Congress goes to our host, the Thai Federation, under the leadership of President Chai Na-rong. Times are challenging, we all know and feel that, and various crises are overlapping. And we have had to make, as ICF board, very difficult decisions this year. I don't want to paint a too dark picture here, but I think times will remain challenging. Therefore, let's find the right answers to all these challenges together in the next 3 days. Welcome again to the ICF Congress 2022.
We'd like to welcome to the stage the Thai Federation.
President of the ICF, distinguished guests, as the President of the Rowing and Canoeing Association of Thailand, I would like to thank the President of the ICF and the ICF Board Directors for choosing Thailand as the venue for this ICF Congress. I would like to warmly welcome you all and hope that all of you will be comfortable and enjoy your stay in Thailand. If there is any mistake, I apologize for the inconvenience. Finally, I would like to wish this meeting a great success. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, and congratulations again to your election as Asian Canoe Association President on a good cooperation. And now we can show you a video with some greetings from our IOC President, Thomas Bach.
Dear President of the International Canoe Federation, my dear friend Thomas Konietzko, dear delegates, dear Olympic friends. First of all, I would like to congratulate all of you at ICF for the outstanding success of the ICF Canoe Slalom World Championships this past summer in Augsburg. After so many postponed competitions during the pandemic, seeing the excitement around the World Championships sent a very important message. Yes, sport is back. With a new leadership team in place at ICF, your Congress is the perfect opportunity to set the course for the future. Here I would like to extend my best wishes to ICF President Thomas Konietzko, who can look back at already momentous first year in office. You hit the ground running, bringing fresh momentum to the ICF journey of modernization. Whether developing your sport with innovative new formats like kayak cross, or reaching new and younger audiences through digital engagement, promoting inclusion and gender equality on or off the watercourse, stepping up the fight against doping, or strengthening sustainability. With these and so many more initiatives, you are embracing change and thereby strengthening the role of sport in society. In this way, you're also promoting our shared mission to make the world a better place through sport. But let us not forget that your Congress is happening at a time when all of us in the Olympic community must prepare for the post-pandemic future. Together with all of you, the IOC is ready to shape this new post-pandemic world with our shared Olympic values. This is why our Olympic Agenda 2020+5 is focused on strengthening the role of sport as an important enabler for the UN Sustainable Development Goals. We are happy to have ICF as such a reliable partner on our side. I would like to thank all of you at ICF and the Canoe community under the great leadership of your President Thomas Konietzko for your contribution to promote sport and its values. As your athletes show us, we can only go faster, aim higher, become stronger if we stand together. Our great partnership is a perfect illustration of this. Of this, our new Olympic motto: faster, higher, stronger, together. In this Olympic spirit of solidarity and peace, I wish you fruitful discussions and a very successful Congress. All the very best.
I think we all can be proud on this recognition of our IOC president And we owe this strong position in the Olympic movement, your dedicated work in your national federations. But now, let me take you with on a journey together through the last year since our Congress in Rome. And I think we all remember those days in Rome, and it feels like it was yesterday. The election of a new leadership is always a decisive step for a sports federation. All of us who were newly elected, and I can speak for the entire team, were full of commitment and ready to continue the successful work of our predecessors. And at the beginning of my speech, I will take you into the private reaction in the Konitsko household during my election last year. Of course, my family was happy about my new role, even though they knew at that time they would hardly see me at home in the following months, but my dog still recognized me if I'm coming back from trips. It was clear to all newly elected officials that we will use all our experience and time to keep our federation in safe waters. And immediately after the Congress in Rome, we started our work. But of course, this year was overshadowed by the war in Ukraine. I'm grateful for the great solidarity of our Canoe family with the Ukrainian athletes, for the countless offers of help from federations and clubs all over the world, and for all the help the worldwide Canoe family has given to the Ukrainian athletes and federation. Additionally, the ICF board reacted immediately and made substantial funds available from its financial reserves to help in a short term. More than 120 athletes were stranded in Turkey with the beginning of this war, and with the help of the ICF, the Romanian, Bulgarian and French Federation, they were able to accommodate it in a safe place for the next few months. Thanks to the donations from you, from organizers and the international Canoe family, we could help Ukrainian athletes to participate in all important competitions this year. This great solidarity not only encouraged our Ukrainian friends to survive this difficult situation, but also showed the cohesion of our Canoe family in difficult times. And we as the ICF board were forced to assess the situation, to protect our competition and make appropriate decisions. Therefore, we decided with a heavy heart to suspend Russian and Belarusian athletes from our competition. Our hearts were heavy because usually sanctions can and must be imposed on those responsible for wrongdoing. It should not be athletes should suffer for the decisions of the government. Nevertheless, we have gone further than the IOC recommendation and have also temporarily suspended officials from these two countries. It is difficult to explain how we can suspend athletes from participating, but at the same time allow officials to participate. What we could not do, what was not covered by our rules, was a complete suspension of the Russian and Belarusian Federation. And I can say at this point that I think this was and is the right thing to do, because we should not burn all bridges and still have to stay in dialogue even when there are different opinions. And I'm convinced that there should be opportunities to exchange different opinions with the Russian and Belarusian federations about this terrible war and to stay in dialogue. I think we agreed that sport has a mission to bring people together in peace and solidarity, and to unite and not to divide. Sport is almost unique in that it can foster and promote a common understanding, solidarity and friendship among all the participants on the field of play. And this unifying mission of sports is more important than ever in these difficult times in a more and more dividing world. The Olympic movement and sport in general cannot prevent wars and conflicts, but we can set an example for a world where everyone respects the same rules. Therefore, when times allow again, Our policy should be to stand together and to allow access for all athletes regardless of their government's misconduct. However, this time has not yet come, and I cannot imagine that this time comes before the war will finish. We are in close exchange with the IOC and other federations and will make the right decisions here, together with the IOC and the other international federations at the appropriate time. As we promised as a team before the election, we set about discussing a joint strategy for the future of our federation as soon as we took office. The ICF was in a comfortable position because we have a very successful track record in many areas. We are and were aware that resting on our laurels is not enough, and that a rapidly changing society also requires new answers from sports organization. We have therefore deliberately chosen to include our stakeholders from around the world in this Fit for Future discussion, along with our board members, in order to involve as many committed representatives of our sport as possible. I would therefore like to take this opportunity to thank Cecilia in particular, who has led this discussion with great personal commitment, but of course also our fellow participants and our staff who have contributed to the discussion. First and foremost, Fit for Future aligns with the IOC Agenda 2020+5 and is based on our shared values. I don't want to go too much into details here because we want to present the strategy and discuss it with you at a later time during our Congress and our workshops. I would just like to say this document is not one that has to be embraced today and be valid for the next years, but it's rather a living and breathing document that can be updated at any time. And we trust in your cooperation and input here. And we have had this discussion not to keep us all busy, but in view of the fact that sport as an indispensable part of society has to do more than just to organize competitions. You all know we are in competition with other sports that also want to be in the Olympic program. In their IOC evaluation, international federations have to meet certain criteria in areas such as environmental sustainability, universality, gender equality, integrity, fairness, popularity, athlete safety, and cost complexity, and that all should reflect our new Fit for Future strategy. And in each of these areas, we already perform well, but we need to get better to keep our strong position in the Olympic movement. That's why we started and had this Fit for Future discussion. And we could not wait on some of these important issues. That is why the board decided in March to join the United Nations Environmental Protection Programme, which means that we must halve our carbon footprint by 2030 and become, as a sports federation, climate neutral as a sport by 2040. That sounds easy and good, but I cannot pretend here that it is not easy to achieve, and it will have a significant impact on our sport, our competitions, and the way we organize them. Also in May, the board decided to transfer the management of our anti-doping program to an independent agency, the ITA. We had to follow the guidelines and the strong wish of our main partner, where the money comes from, by the way, the International Olympic Committee. This way allows us to further strengthen our fight against doping and protect our clean athletes. However, we must also be aware that protecting integrity in our sport has a significant impact on our budget. This year, we had to triple the previous budget for anti-doping measures. And as with all federations in the Olympic movement, the costs will continue to represent a significant part of our annual budget. Of course, all of this has also put a strain on our office, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank our staff for their commitment in the last year. Additionally, it was also a challenge for our staff that after 15 successful years of work from Secretary General Simon Toulson, it was time for a change. Simon Toulson represents a successful period for our federation and has shaped the ICF with great personal commitment. I would like, therefore, to take this opportunity to thank Simon once again. All the success of our federation of the past years are closely linked to Simon's name. I would also like to thank Narelle, I'm sure she is watching, from Lausanne, our Congress, who took over this position on a temporary basis and has managed this transitional period brilliantly with her intellect and clear attitude and expertise. And if you are wondering why Narelle is not here, I think we can present a good message. She is pregnant, will get a baby, and we don't want to demand her to come to Thailand on this long trip. With our new Secretary General, Richard Petit, we now have an experienced staff member who knows our federation, who knows other federation, who knows the IOC very well, and he has many good ideas to shape our future together with our federation, together with you, our federations, and the ICF board. And times are not getting easier. Every day we all feel how the overlapping crises challenge us all. We will therefore have to look for new ways to improve our service while working with the frame of our confirmed budget. We are in a stable financial situation thanks to the grants from IOC and the prudent policy of our predecessors. But we also know that with the same subsidies, inflation will make our reserves and our budget worth little. At the same time, we have realized that our staff resources in the office are sometimes struggling to meet your requirements, the requirements of our committees and commission and those of our partners and organizers. Therefore, the board and the new Secretary General want to work together to find new innovative approaches to improve our human resources in the ICF office without increasing labor cost, and thus become an even better service provider for our athletes and federations. But I cannot conceal here that many imponderables are to be expected with regard to our budget, and that we can only spend what we have available. It is not impossible that we will have, in the view of the economic crisis, to adopt further financial saving measures in the course of the next 2 years in order to remain in a good financial position. And our treasurer will present the proposed budget and our investment strategy in an agenda point later during our Congress. But in any case, we have to think carefully about every additional financially related task. And the new leadership have tried to generate, of course, additional income from the beginning of our term in the office. I would like to thank our Vice President Liu, who cannot join us because of travel restrictions in China, for bringing in additional revenues from the organizers of ICF events in China. And together with an additional sponsor, we were able to generate around 100,000 euro more revenue this year than planned. We are currently in talks with a number of sponsors, and Josef Benarowicz, the former Polish Canoe Federation president, has agreed to help us further without any expenses. We are forced to continue to try and find new ways to generate more revenues because the IOC has made it clear to us that our ratio between IOC grants and our own generated revenues is one of the worst of all Olympic federations. But I'm sure that with the ideas of our new Secretary General, with the wisdom of our board and with your wisdom, we are on the right track here. This additional income this year, which was not planned in the budget, has enabled us, after a board decision, to hire a first continental manager in Africa as part of a pilot project. We need to understand that for the Olympic movement and the IOC, the Asian American markets are important and are crucial for us to remain a strong sport in the Olympic program. Provided Congress approves the budget presented, we also want to recruit managers in Asia and America from next year. We must and we will grow as a sport, especially on the Asian American and African continent. And the figures from Tokyo prove that we are on the right track here. For the first time, the number of viewers of the Olympic and Paralympic Games in Asia was higher than in Europe. And the numbers in America for our sport were almost high as in Europe. And we compared very favorable with the figures of other Olympic federations. I don't want names of other water sport federations here, but improving our position in the ranking of the most watched sports and water sports in the Olympic Games. And of course, no federation needs to be afraid of benefiting less from ICF development support, as we will continue with existing projects and the same budget. But we will also question here how sustainable and successful our development activities have been in the past. We have to ask ourselves whether we have always achieved what we wanted to achieve with huge investments in our development activities. Here, our responsible Vice President, Cecilia, will provide more detailed explanations at a later time during the Congress. For me personally, one of the most important tasks was to promote our sport. That is why I have made numerous trips as ICF President and will continue to be a good supporter of our sport. And it is an appreciation for our national canoe federations when an ICF Vice President or the ICF President visits a country. I don't want to bother you with a list of all our journeys, but creating relationships with national stakeholders and strengthening support for our national federation is the key for the further development of our sport and will remain one of my main tasks as President. But now, let me come to what we are here for as a sports federation. A brief assessment of this year's competition season. 2022 was the year with the most World Championships and World Cups in the history of the ICF due to the postponements because of COVID and an increasing number of World Cups. 34 events took place, and we can be proud we were able to hold all 34 championships to a really high standard. Thanks to you, to our organizers, for an outstanding job. We at the ICF know very well that we owe this success to your dedicated work and that of hundreds of volunteers. It would take too long to mention all these World Championships and World Cups. So let me just mention a few highlights. Of course, Thomas Bach mentioned this in his speech. The visit from our IOC president was a tremendous vote of support for our federation. The incredible mood, we spoke yesterday in our workshop about that in Canada, and the first start ever of Special Olympic athletes during a Sprint World Championship, or the inclusion of para events for the first time in a Marathon World Championship are only some of few things we will keep in our mind from our season 22. And we set new records in streaming audiences. In the Polo World Championship, we had almost 300,000 viewers in total. In marathon, we entertained 180,000 viewers. And from the first Sprint World Cup, we had the highest number of viewers this year with almost 340,000 watching our competition. These were among our fantastic highlights and shows clearly a great progress. However, we also had to realize that unfortunately, unlike our World Championships and Olympic disciplines, the interest of TV broadcasters in World Cups has diminished. Most of the time, Only the TV stations of organizing countries have taken live coverage of our World Cups in Olympic disciplines, and very few other TV stations have taken pictures. Our in-house channel Eurosport, which we pay, has not broadcast many of our competitions live, but only showed replays, sometimes at poor broadcasting times. The future of our broadcast clearly lies in streaming, but we do not want to neglect linear broadcast. The board has therefore decided to change our broadcasting strategy. We don't want to continue the contract with Eurosport from next year, and we plan to invest the money saved there in a new employee to take care of a better distribution of our footage. We are also in the process of negotiating with the largest Chinese TV broadcaster, CCTV, to broadcast also our World Cups in Asia, in addition to our World Championships, which are already contracted. We want to bundle our streaming activities on just one platform next year and want to introduce a paywall at the Junior World Championships in sprint and slalom only as a pilot project to determine if we can generate revenues with our streaming offers. And of course, if I'm talking about our competition, I would like to mention here one of the most important competitions for the whole sports world in 2022, the World Games in Birmingham. That was really a professional stage for both our sports. Marathon was back on the program, thrilled the fans. And the secret star of the World Games was definitely Canoe polo. And during the semi-finals and finals, all seats were sold out. And in 2025, thanks to a very committed president of the World Games Association, we can add Dragon Boat on the program of the World Games. But of course, working with the organizers of the Paris and Los Angeles Games was at the top of our agenda. And we can look forward to outstanding games in Paris. Under our friend Tony's leadership, the games will be different, special, and captivate millions. The venues in Paris are ready, and we can look forward to outstanding games. However, the international developments and the associated financial implication will not spare the games. Therefore, there will be no test events as we know them. But we have agreed with the French Federation, and thanks for that, to use our World Cup in slalom as a test event and to hold an additional Sprint World Cup right after the Sprint World Championships in Duisburg 23 on the Olympic sprint venue in Paris. And also Los Angeles 28 is casting its shadows ahead, and it is our common goal to present our Olympic events 28 in the same way as we will do this in Paris. Sprint will take place in the heart of the LA city, and we are in close negotiations with LA 28 and the potential host to confirm soon a venue for our 6 slalom events. Additionally, we know very well that multi-sport events offer a great stage for our sport. We therefore want to apply for participation in many major multi-sport events as possible, especially with our non-Olympic sports. Even if we failed because of a short preparation time with our application with ocean racing in the Commonwealth Games 26, we want to continue on this path. And let me end my speech with an important event for us, which will take place in a couple of weeks. As you know, virtual events are an important milestone for IOC, and we will therefore organize the first virtual Ergo World Cup in December, and I ask you actively promote this competition in your federation. Imagine the new possibilities that virtual events offer to us. In the future, we can have club athletes around the world compete virtually against Olympic champions. We can connect recreational paddlers around the world, and we can better promote our sport. I know it has been a long speech, and it is not easy to reflect all the important activities in a year full of activities in only one session. But I believe that the summary of our many activities reflects that we as canoeing and as a federation are well on the way to maintaining and improving our position in the Olympic movement. We are strong as a sport. We have you, very committed supporters and national federations. And we have to do everything together as a strong canoe family to promote and develop our sport in a professional way. Thank you all again for your commitment, your support and cooperation during the last year. We are on the right track as the ICF family and true to our slogan, always moving forward. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, so as my first task as the new Secretary General is to open the floor to questions following the President's address. Are there any questions from the floor? Mr. Narita.
ご挨拶させていただいて。ご挨拶させていただいていいでしょうか。
I would like to say a few words. Can I come up to the podium? Yes.
Please.
おはようございます。
Good morning.
長い間お世話になりましてありがとうございました。
Thank you for the long-time support that you have given me.
約40年にわたるカヌーの役員をおりました。1983年にアジアのコンチネンタルができました。約40年に上ります。経ちました。当時は日本、韓国、チャイナ、香港、シンガポール、インドネシアという6カ国からのコンチネンタルでありましたけれども、今日39カ国のコンチネンタルになってきました。
I have been involved for almost 40 years in Asian canoeing since 1983. In 1983, we established the Canoe Federation in Asia, Asian Canoe Confederation, with only 6 countries. Now we have 39 member countries.
大変皆さんと一緒にやってきたカヌーでございまして楽しかったと思っております。ありがとうございました。
It was a great honor and a pleasure, but at the same time it was a good, fun time for me. Thank you very much.
ここにペルニラさんいらっしゃる、ヘレンさんいらっしゃる、昨年行われました2020東京のオリンピックが一番の大変な大会であったことを思い出すんですけれども、ペルニラさんには大変足しげく何回も東京へ足を運んでいただいた御礼を申し上げておきます。
So we have President Perurena and also Ms. Helen Brownlee. We would like to thank you for your support during your time. Last year, the 2020 Olympics was a very difficult Olympics to host. And I would like to thank you for your dedication and support
今
for
考
us to
えて
host this
も
event.
ゾッとするようなことがあったと思うんです。レスリングがオリンピックから除外スポーツになったときに、50-50の問題がありました。男女比平等の問題でした。それを ヘレンさんが一生懸命にやっていただいた。カヌーを救ってくれたのはヘレンさんなんです。東京が無事というよりも変な大会ではあったんですけれども、なんとか無事に大会の中の種目として開催できたのもヘレンさんのおかげです。ここに改めて感謝申し上げておきます。
So we can't speak about canoeing in the Olympics without mentioning Helen. In the Tokyo Olympics, canoeing was almost excluded as an Olympic sport. And this was similar to the situation in wrestling, where because of their gender equity, the problem with the gender equity, they were almost excluded for the canoeing sports. We were at the same risk, but because of Helen Brownlee and how she supported the equal number of events and athletes' participation, we have the sports of canoeing in the Olympic program.
いや、実にたくさんの方にお世話になりました。みんなにお礼を申し上げましてご挨拶をさせていただきます。今日までありがとうございました。
So thank you all for your support. We couldn't have done it without everyone's support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Narita. Thank you, Mr. Narita. And at a later time during this Congress, we will raise this topic again and will discuss how we can dignify his lifetime achievement for our sport. Mr. Narita.
Okay. So, I'd like to just run you through, as with every start of every Congress, we need to run through a few... we have more questions, sorry.
Good morning to everybody. Dear Mr. President, dear delegates, taking the opportunity, first of all, Ukrainian Canoe Federation express our respect and gratitude for the help and support of the Ukrainian canoe family in this difficult time for us, the military invasion of Russia on our territory. Special thanks to the President of ICF, Mr. Konecko, and ICF team for the lightning flash reaction at the beginning of the full-scale military invasion and the introduction of sanctions against the aggressor states of Russia and Belarus. Also grateful ICF for your financial and organization support and generous gift for uniforms for our national team athletes who were in Turkey at the time. Ukrainian Canoe Federation also thanks all the national federations that accepted our national teams, both adult and junior, for training session for free, which give us the opportunity to perform decently on the international arena and show that Ukraine is not broken both on the battlefield and in the sport arena. Special thanks to National Federation of Canada in financial organization and visa assistance to our national team to participate in World Championship. Without your support, we would not be able to participate in the most important competitions this year. And thanks all the national federations that responded to help and accept our children who were forced to leave Ukraine because their homes were destroyed. Thank you very much for all of you from Ukraine Canoe Federation. Thanks.
Большое спасибо, President, and I can promise that we will continue our support so long as necessary.
Thank you very much. Is there any other questions from the room? No? Okay, so I can proceed with housekeeping. Just to go through a number of different points regarding how we will run this Congress over the next few days. As mentioned by our President, there are 109 federations represented at this Congress, of which 61 are in the room and 48 are online. That means that we're running a hybrid Congress, which does allow us to welcome many more federations to the Congress, but it also presents us with some technical challenges, which might present a slight delay when we're looking at the voting. So what we ask is that we consider online and in the room that there may be a little bit of extended time when we go through the voting, just to ensure that everyone has had the opportunity to vote. Voting for this Congress is conducted by an independent contractor and will be delivered online through the system, as mentioned. All presentations and reports have been uploaded online. Sorry, it's a question.
Yeah, morning everyone. I'm Prashant Kushwaha. I'm president from Indian Kayaking Canoeing Association. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Narita and the host country to host this beautiful city of Thailand. There are two suggestions, sir, as we are from the country which is having the highest population and we are growing in a way for kayaking canoeing. Number one, the visa issue. We request ICF that there should be some special team who should assist for the visas for the athletes, at least for the Asian countries, because every country is having problem with the visas. The second thing what we are looking for, the support to India to improve and move the canoe and kayak and slalom as well. Two requests from our end. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. It was not the right moment, but we took your recommendations, and of course we are very well aware that the visa issue is not only a big issue for Indian Federation, but for all our federations. And we will come back later with some proposals during this Congress to this issue.
Yeah. As just a point of reference, yeah. When we raise a question, we're happy to raise the hand. There's no need to rush up to the stage. We're happy to take the questions from the floor, and someone will bring a microphone to you so you can raise your question. We're happy and delighted that there are more questions coming from the floor, and really we want this Congress to be and ensure that it is really the canoeing community that is coming together and not just us talking directly to you from the stage. So we really welcome your inputs. As mentioned, all of the reports will be online, and I hope you've had the chance to review them. In addition, we would like to just run through a quick test vote to check that everything works. So I'd like to welcome Karen Askey to stage just to go through the voting system.
Good morning to all of you, and good afternoon, good evening for those attending the Congress remotely. I will shortly explain to you how the voting system works. If everything works well, you have all received an email, which should be on screen now. Can I please have the PowerPoint showing the email? Okay, basically, some basic rules about the voting. You have received an email, which I will show you shortly. In the mail, you will see a direct link and your login details. Basically, you only need to click the direct link to be logged in automatically. Voting is encrypted and secured by TLS version 2 or higher. When you select an answer, you can't do so right now. We will do the test vote after my explanation. When you select an answer, the background color of that answer will change. That is basically your confirmation of voting. In a lot of cases, you will receive on your phone, if you use your phone, you receive a message stating that your vote was received, but that's not always the case. So the background turning into blue is proof enough. Okay, this is an example of the email that you received, and hopefully you all did so. If not, please could you make yourself known. In the back, you will see Hoi Chan, who can resend the email if needed. And I would like you to ask to pick your phones so we can indeed perform the test vote. When logging in, this is the only screen you will see now. So as long as voting is not open, you will not see a question. This is the only thing you will see. Can I have the next slide, please? As soon as voting opens, you will see the question and you will see the answers that you can pick from. It's always yes, no, or abstain. 1 is yes, 2 is no, 3 is abstain. If you click the desired answer, as you see, it will change, the background color will change, you get the confirmation. If you want to revoke your vote, simply click the same answer again. It will turn blue again, you can pick another one. Can I have the next one, please? Exactly. If you revoke your vote, you will see all backgrounds in the same color again. Can I have the next one? And if you click another one, that answer will get another background. Next one, please. Okay. And as soon as voting closes, we will show the results on screen, and you will see this message. So only when you can vote, you will see a question. If not, this is the message that you will see. Is there anyone who has any questions about that? If that is not the case, I will go back to my seat and I will open the test vote. Thank you.
Whilst Karen is going back to open the test vote, we'd just like to say that there's been 3 appointed scrutineers for this Congress. Karen Aski, Hoi Shan Kwon from the ICF team, and Helen Brownlee is also appointed as a scrutineer. In addition, one point, please ensure that you use the ICF Congress Wi-Fi and only use that for voting purposes and reading of the documentation. We want to ensure that everyone has that the Wi-Fi remains stable and that everyone has the opportunity to vote. So please restrict any other use of internet for the time whilst we're conducting the Congress. Are we ready, Karen? Yeah? So we'll run through the test. Very inventive question. Have you ever been in Thailand? Okay, we only have, is there anyone having issues? Because we don't have huge amounts of votes at the moment. Please make sure you all test the system. I know it could be like when you get on a plane and you don't listen to the attendant, but please, please, please push the button. Then we can at least make sure that we've got all the system, all the voting working. I'll give you one more minute. If you're having any issues with the voting, please raise your hand and our colleague can help you out.
Our online participants.
I think nearly everyone in the room has voted, but we're still waiting to wake some people up that are online. Okay, so we have, I think, all federations voted in the room. We have a few still waiting to vote online. If I can remind you, when it needs to go green before you before the vote is actually confirmed. So please make sure that your vote goes green before we move forward. Okay, with the test vote complete, let's now move forward to the roll call. Okay, so we will also do this online. Okay.
Let's start with roll call, then we know how many federations are participating online.
What are they doing? Okay, if we can now start with the roll call, you should receive a notification which will allow you to push the button, and then your country code should be represented in blue. As we can see, there's a number being pushed and moving forward. Okay. There's a number that I know that are present in the room that haven't pushed. What did they do? Did it come through to you or not?
Yeah, but
So, can we give some support to Algeria, Azerbaijan? Okay, so we're still waiting for a few people to connect online to push their vote forward. So we're just going to wait 2 minutes. We will come round to any of you that have issues with the selection.
Is it not working, Azerbaijan? Okay. India, Iraq, Korea, Tunisia, Norway.
Yeah, please make sure you only click once and it goes green. When it stays green, it comes on our screen as blue. So once it's green and on your screen and blue on our screen, that means you've officially logged your attendance at this Congress. We're still waiting for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. India, I think. Huh?
Is there someone in the room who still needs help?
Okay, so we can move forward now. We have 64 federations registered, so we can move forward to the approval of the minutes. I will hand over to our president.
I hope that you all have read again, published on our Congress website, minutes from our 2021 Congress in Rome. We didn't got any remarks or additions, so if there are no questions related to minutes of our last Congress, then we can approve and vote about approval of minutes. Please start the vote.
Can we please start the vote?
Everything is still on the beginning a little bit bumpy and maybe we need some exercises, but it's a good rehearsal now to use a voting system. It takes a little while until they publish the question. Okay.
Apparently we have a 40-second delay online, so that's why we're being a little bit delayed here.
Again, please approve 2021 Congress minutes now.
So we can now close the voting and the minutes are approved.
So thanks for approving minutes, and we can go ahead with our agenda, and we want to approve 2 new members, which would increase the total membership of our federation to 171. So you can find documents on the Congress website. There is a request from Canoe Federation of Solomon Islands to be a member, to become a member of International Canoe Federation. And there is another request of Comoran, what's the right Comore Island. All documents are submitted. The board yesterday decided to recommend to you to approve this new members to ICF. So let's move to the vote if there are no questions.
So the vote is, do you approve the Solomon Islands as a new member of the ICF?
So only to explain to you the long gaps, because we have to give those who are voting online a little bit more time, because it takes time until we get the online votes, and we want to make sure that everyone is able to vote with.
Can we close the voting now? Okay, so we have 97%. So the Solomon Islands is a new member of the ICF.
So congratulations, Solomon Islands.
Okay, we'll now move on to the Comoros as a new member of the ICF. And please now vote. We can now close the voting.
So we are fast in learning. Voting goes now more smoothly, and we can congratulate Comoros for confirmation of ICF membership. So we are catching up the delay. Now it's time for first coffee break. We don't want to reduce the coffee break too much, but let's start 5 minutes past 11 and let's continue our Congress. Thank you and have a nice coffee break. Please take your seats. Please take your seats. I'm sure that your clothes are received.
Okay, we will look to start as soon as everyone's back in the room.
So let's continue, and just realized nobody is listening to President. It's not 5 past, it's 15 past, but social gatherings are even so important during a Congress as reports and speeches. Nevertheless, I now want to hand over to our Secretary General to give his report.
Okay, so I will keep my report relatively brief, but we'll start with a video, I believe. So here we go.
It's really awesome to be back up here, and it feels good to be competing with these awesome women again.
Understanding the barriers and the support was fantastic, so thank you.
The crowd was amazing, so Dankeschön, thank you.
Brilliant race, but he's also showing respect for Chirilla. Chirilla is the champion, he deserves those cheers as well.
The organization committee, they're making just a great job.
It's an amazing feeling. The 4 gold medal in one day. We never see this in the canoeing.
To have the opportunity to hopefully race 2 races in Paris is really, really exciting. And
You're world champion again.
It's just amazing.
I think it's always important to think about why we do what we do, and I think the emotions of the athletes is clearly something that resonates throughout our sport. As Thomas said, we had 34 amazing events this year, and I give an incredible credit to all of the team, the professional staff within Lausanne, but also all of the organising committees and the discipline chairs and their committees. It's been I think for many of the team a difficult but very progressive season, and I tried to highlight some of those things within my report. As many of you know, I've only been in the job this is my 8th week in the job, so don't expect me to give too long an address right here, but one of the things I wanted to try and ensure that we did throughout this Congress was trying to make sure that this really was an opportunity to discuss and become together as a community. And one of the key things that we really look to achieve is do just that through the workshops. We have a number of workshops, and it was excellently kicked off yesterday with a workshop from Casey Wade from the CEO of Canoe Kayak Canada, and Ashley from Great British Canoeing. And we had a really good discussion and fruitful discussion on membership and how to run and how to drive finance into your sport. But what this really highlighted to me is the huge opportunity that we have within this room, the opportunity to really think about how we can connect with every paddler on the planet. And I think if we can do that collectively, it makes our sport significantly stronger. There are a number of different models and different ways that every national federation approaches engagement with membership. But I think what we want to try and achieve, and one of the key things that I want to try and achieve, is to try and share best practice amongst the community, to ensure that together we are starting to build a better future, a stronger future for the sport. That means that we do not need to continue to invest in multiple different systems in multiple different ways. For me, I always stick by 3 key words. It's really simplify, unify, and amplify. And these 3 key words are something that I'd like us as a sport to really focus on. We fundamentally have to think about how we can simplify the way, the infrastructure of our sport regarding the data capture and the different areas. Throughout our President's speech, and as us all being here, it's clear that we're all united in an approach, but we continually need to think about how we can unite and extend our support to those athletes, sharing best practice and delivering in an efficient and effective manner that's an easy to understand for those paddlers out there. We need to remain relevant, and we also need to always consider how we can continually amplify our message. If we are consistent across all of our federations with our message, if we are open and welcoming and continue to operate with a smile on our face, we will clearly continue to move much stronger and more united as we move forward together and grow together. Throughout my 8 weeks, I've had the opportunity to do a number of, go to a couple of events. I went to the Canoe Sprint World Junior and Under 23 World Championships in Hungary. It just highlighted the potential and the opportunity within our sport. There was so many amazing athletes there. Great to see so many new world champions being made, and it was fantastic to experience the atmosphere of what can be considered one of the homes of our sports in Szeged. I then moved to the Marathon World Championships in Portugal, and was met with an amazing engagement with the local community. We could see in Portugal that everyone was supporting canoeing. Everyone came down from the town to watch their world champion, Fernando Pimenta, perform in the Marathon World Championship. And this highlighted to me again the way that athletes can connect with communities, and athletes can really deliver our message in a way that is different to anything else, a way that engages and drives more people and inspires more people to be within our sport. Tomorrow we will hear from Bridget from our Athletes Commission. And I'd like to take this opportunity to really underline why it's so important that we continue to get the athlete representation at the table. It's exciting to hear the views. It's exciting to think about change. But it's also exciting to celebrate our success. And by having the athletes at the table, we can always see how we can celebrate our success. So anyway, that's just a few areas. In addition, myself and our president went to the ANOC General Assembly. And this is also really important, and I congratulate our president on the last 12 months, because he's continued to push forward and move forward the agenda across the sporting world beyond the canoeing community. And I think this is something that is hugely needed, and something that really will make a significant change in how we continue to operate as a sport, and how we can start to engage more partners and more better and stronger relationships beyond our canoeing community. So, in closing, I think from my point of view, really happy and fantastic to meet all of you. It's been a pleasure to start to welcome you and start to hear your challenges, opportunities in different areas. And I would really look forward to engaging in the conversation more, particularly around the Fit for Future workshop that will be run tomorrow evening. Okay.
So thank you, Secretary General. Any questions to our Secretary General regarding the staff situation in office? So 1 month in ICF office and this position count like a year in the life. So he experienced a lot, and by the way, he shaped and changed already a lot our office in a still more efficient way. No questions related to Richard's report? Then let's move ahead to the finance 2022.
So we need to start the finance section with a vote ahead. So we need to approve the 2021 audited report, which was included within your documentation. In line with our statutes, we're required to cast a vote regarding the 2021 report. We have provided the 2022 report, but this is up to the first 8 months of the year, so up to the end of August, and of course we will then have that fully audited at the close of the year. So I'd like to open a vote. Okay, so the vote is: do you approve the auditor's report from 2021?
Good morning, everyone. It's always a privilege. I try to pay attention.
I know. Clearly, I need to try and keep our treasurer in check. But we're just waiting for the vote to come in. So we'll just wait for 2 minutes. Maybe, yeah. Maybe we can join in a song just like last night.
I wait. No problem.
Please, can we close the vote? Okay. The auditor's report is approved. I can now give the floor to Luciano, our treasurer.
Thank you, Richard. And first of all, thank you to support us in the past and today. It's always a privilege to report to you the activity of the board for the activity of the International Canoe Federation. And I would like to give the congratulations with all the members of the board because they respect the budget. We finished the activity 2021. We can send you the budget with the details. And I take the opportunity to give my personal gratitude to Mr. Perurena and Simon in the past that we have a good team that go on for this future. The future, it's not very good moment, but we end the 2021 well. You can see that all the voice of the budget was respected, and I have not other item to add to the presentation. Thank you for all. And I would like that you maintain your attention for the presentation, the budget 23-24. Thank you very much. You showed.
Can we now show the presentation?
Maybe I can add a short explanation. We are now talking about budget 2022 until August. So of course we cannot present to you a final budget for 2022. We approved the budget 21 during the Congress and afterwards in the board. So that's a split time budget what we can show you now. And we are already moving to our investment strategy.
Do you know that in the last 3 years, nobody of us can imagine what happened? Last year in Roma, I start with these words. We stay well. we have a good financial situation. We stayed during the pandemic, but after, in October was the Congress in Rome, after, in March, we assist a new, very, very bad events. The war, the war in Europe. Nobody of us imagined. And this second event produced an really economic crisis. And in the last period, we received other negative aspects with the furniture of gas and the grow up of the price. All these events produce in the economic market a very big damage. I can show you the slide. This is the very best example because the German government bonds in the history was the best investment. And he was considered free risk. Well, this is one of our investment, and they obtained the loss 5.4%. The second example, the second slide, show you the European corporates as bonds of Germany. And the result is very clear, minus 8.30%. We have another slide that synthesizes the situation. Even globally, the downside is extraordinary. If you can see the US bond, and compared to the recent history, the performance of global bond since the beginning of the year. The negative is everywhere. The negative is everywhere. And I not repeat because all of us follow the newspaper and TV everywhere. We receive the same information. And I hope that your portfolio not lose the same losses of this. I hope for you. Can go on. This is the situation in our world. USA, the economy will grow by 2.7 in 2002 and slow more in 2023, 1.8. In Europe, here there is some country that can see that everywhere we have the problem with each kind of the situation, not only the war, but energetic crisis, gas, furniture, social events, etc., etc. And the forecast, the inflation is a very, very big problem for European. In Switzerland, that from many, many times was considered the island of the bank, we can see that expect inflation about 2% in Switzerland. Some of us hope that China reopening the market. 2 days ago, the China government closed the Shanghai market, and in Shanghai was the big company of chip. And the chip is necessary for car company, for technology, for all. If this market not reopen, is another big problem. Japan reduced the forecast for the growth at 2%. But you can see that everywhere we have the same situation. But I am optimist because when the economic crisis go very deep, in 2 years, I hope that I explain the next Congress and we realize that our investment rise again the performance that we obtained in the past. In the past, I would like to remember, and here is Pachi and the other member of the board, we obtain every year 3,000, 4,000 euro to profit. And I don't want to anticipate the budget for 2003 to 2004, but we contain the losses about 6.5%, respect the market that lose between 12–16%. This is because we choose the conservative and prudent investment in a short term with the primary company, primary bank, and social sustainable industry. In this way, we obtain, open the bracket, a good results, respect the market. But first of all, I take the attention of the President, of the Secretary, and all the board member that our prudential activity, we manage and we monitor all the activity because we must report to you that our activity can go very well to the Olympic Games in Paris.
Thank you, Treasurer, and thank you for your hard and challenging job during last year. So you got some informations about our investment strategy. Maybe I have to explain that we get money from IUC, which makes 95% of the whole budget for next 4 years in one portion after the games. That means that we take the money, invest it, and that's the result our treasurer just presented to you. Any questions regarding the investment strategy? Tomorrow we are talking about budget 23 and 24. This is only to explain to you the situation right now, where we are in 2022 and where we are with our investment strategy. Any questions? No questions at all. Then thanks again. Shows you did a good job, explained it very well, and we can move ahead to the next topic. And I ask our Vice President, I already mentioned several times her name, Cecilia, to give the report.
Thank you, Thomas. Good morning, everyone. I hope you would have had time to take a look at my report, which is together with the documents for the Congress. However, I would like to highlight some areas and take the opportunity to address some words for very good friends that are today at the room. I'm very active in the participation of the activities and competitions, mainly in the American continent, from which one I'm coming. You can see all the meetings with presidents, authorities, and interventions that I have at my continent. Something that I want to mention is that I'm involved with the Women Lead Sports program whenever we receive from ASOIF the invitations. We have a tradition at the ICF, which is not only to take part at the free spot that is provided to us as International Federation, but to open the possibility to other women financing their participation. And we are being very satisfied about the success of those women that take part at these seminars, which give them tools to become real leaders. Our last satisfaction was given by Miki Bando, who is today at the room, who was elected as chair of the Marathon Commission of the Asian Canoe Association. So these seminars are very important, are open for all the women of our community, and we will keep working on those ones. We work on the Olympic solidarity opportunities, and we will have the chance to receive a full explanation from Sheila Stephens, who is the head of the Olympic solidarity of IOC, and will join us through internet. One of our future actions into the frame of the governance is the IOC Human Rights Strategic Framework, on which one we will be working, because we have to incorporate this in our statutes. I also work with the ACODEPA, which is the Association of All Sports Confederations, and I'm a vice president there, and it's very important for us, as President Perurena used to say, to be members of all the international organizations of sport, not just the canoeing ones. The last project on which one I was involved, probably the most important in terms of extent and importance for our community, is the Fit for Future strategy. Thomas put me in charge as a project manager, and we started the elaboration of this project in November 2021. Since then, we ran uncountable meetings with many of you that joined this collaborative process that the president of the ICF opened, inviting all the national federations. Not just the national federations, but also the experts of certain companies and the experts that the federations have for developing certain projects. We will have the chance to make a dedicated presentation for the Fit for Future, and in addition to that, to run workshops, of which I invite you all. There is a project that I would like to mention and take the opportunity to say a special thanks to British Canoeing. That project is the International Partnership Program. It took me 13 years to see this project becoming a reality. What was that? I was always very interested about the development of the national federations with less possibilities, with less resources. And one of the central points were the deficiencies regarding governance. Governance today for the most developed federations is a matter at the top of everything. As I used to say, is the spine of all the work of a well-organized sport organization. However, some federations are missing those contents, and it was really a good opportunity and an impressive generosity from British Canoeing to provide us the opportunity to help us to develop the content, the governance content of the International Partnership Program, which objective is to give tools in terms of governance to the federations that need to work on this. The project is still ongoing. I mean, the content is prepared and is ready, it's available for the federations that may need it. But from our part, we also ran a sort of assessment to see if this content of the project fits on the life of the federation that is requesting at that certain point. The Sustainable Development Program, if you remember, until very recently, we spoke about the ICF development program as that, not Sustainable Development Program. However, we work aligned with the recommendations of the Agenda 2020 and now the Agenda 2020+5. Therefore, we accept and embrace, basically, that's the better word, we embrace the guideline coming from the IOC, and we understand that our development program is a sustainable development program, to which I invite you to review in your national federations how that works and to incorporate this. Take the opportunity of participating also at the sustainability presentations and the workshops. We cannot be behind the times, and now it's time for the ICF to work on the transgender athletes policy. Dr. Tim Bravans had a crucial participation on the initiation of this project. We already, as board member, received the visit of a scientist who gave us information. To take decisions, there is no other way than being well informed in advance, and we are at this point. And of course, we will not take decisions in vacuum. We will consult all our athletes throughout the survey that will be managed by our colleagues from the Athletes Commission. So be ready to receive this very soon. IOC evaluates, as well as OIF, the gender equality status. Please allow me to read the definitions that I believe are always valid, and it is always necessary to bear in mind. Gender equality, the equal rights, responsibilities, and opportunities of women and men, and girls and boys. This is according with the definition of the UN Women. Gender equity is the process of being fair to men and women. To ensure fairness, measures must often be put in place to compensate for the historical and social disadvantages that prevent women and men from operating on a level playing field. Equity is a means to a result, while equality is the result. This is a UNESCO definition. It is my duty as a woman of the board of directors of the International Canoe Federation to advocate for the right continue this subject without having some words for my dear friend, Helen Brownlee. Helen was my predecessor, chairing first what was called in the ICF the Women Commission, and later, as of now, the Diversity and Inclusion Commission. At the beginning, I have to admit that the change of name, Women Commission by Diversity and Inclusion, was even difficult for me, who am not an English native-speaking person, to remember the word. However, the ICF has had the light to realize that we needed to evolve not just on the name of the commission, but on the content of the work that we put inside. So Helen, thank you very much for this. Thank you for being the champion in advocating for all our rights. And I also remember, and will remember forever, that the change of the statutes of the ICF, admitting at least one person of the other gender between the three vice presidents, came during your time with us in the ICF. Thank you, Helen. As I said, we as International Federation are receiving a score for IOC and from ASOIF. We are not in bad shape. We are progressing. We are taking positive actions. And as you see, just taking a look to the delegates at the Congress, we can realize that we still need to work a little bit more on the women representation. That requires a modification of the statutes. And we received the advice to proceed on such pathway by the IOC. And I'm sure that we will count with the support of all of you for passing this modification of statutes in the coming Congress. The Sustainable Development Program, of which I'm also responsible, is gender equal, and we appreciate the cooperation of the national federations in submitting equal nominations for all the activities that are part of the development program. Those activities, or probably the most popular, are the participations at the TIP, Talent Identification Program. When we receive nominations only for one gender, we have the obligation of sending back the nominations, asking you to revise your decision and to submit equal nominations in terms of gender. We have to continue on this pathway if we want to have more women in all the senses. We have to celebrate also that we have reached the gender equality on the appointment of ITOs for the Olympic Games, Paralympics, and also this year for the Olympic disciplines and Paralympics, in our World Championships. It is not that we don't have enough women ITOs. What we need is more appointments coming from the federations. So please help us on this. As part of the good governance, the IOC encourages IFs to transition to gender-balanced representation in their decision-making bodies, with a minimum of 30% women's representation. And this is clearly an area on which we must continue our work. One of the challenges that we face is not just to have enough women. I never refer to women just by the gender, but by the content and responsibility that we as women can provide to the discussions at the boards. And one of the major challenges that we face is the funding for our participation. So I also present this to you as leaders of your national federations to consider that women to have the real opportunities to participate and be women in positions of decision is to be funded for traveling and for participating in all these forums. I'm sure we will manage together. One of the latest actions that we had was the incorporation of women coaches participating at the WISH program created by the IOC Olympic Solidarity. It's important to increase the number of women coaches. This is probably one of the areas on which we need to put much more work. And again, that will be discussed in one of our workshops. I'm also responsible from the sustainability program of the ICF, given to me by Thomas. Thank you very much for giving so much work to do. But this project will be discussed in detail after we see the presentation that will be done by the companies with which we are working. Basically, I want to close my report telling you that we try to contribute as much as we can out of putting our knowledge, our expertise, but mainly our passion in everything that we do. This pathway is not easy. It's challenging in so many ways, but it's very rewarding to know that every work that we do have a compensation, which is to make better the life of youth that probably we will never see. So thank you very much. And if you have any question, you can present now, or if the question relates to the matters that we will see later, I will be happy to discuss that during the workshops. Thank you.
Thank you, Cecilia, for your report. I think it shows clearly how hardworking Cecilia was during the last year. She kept us busy and keeps us busy, highlighted always the important topics. And yeah, I'm happy to have such a dedicated vice president on my side. Miro, you raise your hand. Can we have a mic?
Okay, it's just a very, very small comment. When Cecilia, thank you very much, but when you spoke about this gender equality and ITOs, I would like just to remind the Congress that, for instance, at last Paralympics in Tokyo, we had more female ITOs than male ITOs. I think this was a big success in your effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Miro, for a compliment to highlight our improvements. Great. Any more compliments or comments? No, that's not the case. Then let's move to our Vice President in charge for all sports-related issues. Luis, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Thomas, Mr. President. I know that you don't like it. That's you don't call him president. He don't like it. So, Thomas. First of all, I would like to thank you, the Thai Federation and the Asian Confederation, for hosting this Congress. I think they have been pursuing to run this Congress. We were canceling the previous Congress, moving to Rome, and keep pushing to have this Congress here. So I think it was time to come back to Asia. So thank you for the effort on putting together this Congress. And thank you to the delegates that attend to this Congress. And I think it's a highlight for the new team, as the President mentioned before, that we have such a number of delegates in here, in-house, and online following us. I would like to go directly to some key activities that we have been running this first and intense year. And as a first, I should say that it's very hard to follow our President Thomas. I've been trying to help as much as possible on the daily basis work to Thomas with the presence in Lausanne since the beginning, nearly every month, couple of days in the headquarters, trying to put together the new season. As you know, we were elected in November, so we didn't have too many time to make changes. We had time to prepare the season. Also having presence in many events, World Championships, like Freestyle Nottingham, Traignac in France for downriver, Augsburg, also Halifax in Canada, and some World Cups in slalom and other disciplines. So trying to be visible and trying to make the ICF visible in all these events. Also attending as many committees, meetings as possible to understand all the disciplines. As you know, my background comes from one of the committees, but now I'm trying to understand what is going on in each committee. So trying to attend as many meetings as possible and understand them and help them in some tasks to link it to the executive committee and to the board of directors. One of the tasks at the beginning also was to support the athletes committee. As you know, the athletes committee is elected by the Olympic disciplines by their athletes at the World Championships, but some others are applications to the board. And then when we have the 8 athletes, in between them, they choose the chair. So I was trying to coordinate that election. And then Bridget becomes the chairman of the athletes committee. So I think that was an easy task, but it was important to do it because the athletes need to have also a big presence and also at the beginning some guidance when you start to be part of this organization. Also another task on my duties was to follow up the bids, and especially we had this big package of bids from USA for the period 24-26, preparing the Los Angeles Games. So we were working together with ACA and Rock Scriber to get all these bids in place, to decide which ones were fitting. So that was a long task, but I think was successful at the end because we chose the bids that we were willing to have, and in March the board decided to allocate some bids, and you are aware of those. One thing that I would like to highlight, that I think Cecilia will do it on the development discussion this afternoon, but we get a donation from the Chinese Federation, and also I would like to thank you, Chinese Federation and Mr. Liu in particular, because they had some money in an hotel in Barcelona, and they were unable to use it because COVID during these past 2 years, and then they donate this money to the ICF, and we ran a camp there where we were able to invite paddlers from different national federations, some paddlers from Ukraine as well, some paddlers from Spain, from Austria, from Israel. So it was a short time thing, but thank you to the Chinese cooperation, we were able to run it, and I was trying to support Cecilia as I'm living very close to the Olympic venue in Barcelona. So that was another task that I was running during this period. And another important thing was, under the guidance of the President, we decided to run 2 seminars with organizers. We think our events are a key part of the whole of our activities. And we ran these 2 seminars, one in Poznan with the sprint organizers and another one in Augsburg with the slalom organizers. And yeah, we had good attendance in Augsburg, a little bit less in Poznan, but it was a good discussion. And in all these meetings, in both meetings, we had the same conclusions. We need to improve the communication in between the ICF and the organizers, so that's something that we take a note. We need to add probably, or try to help to add some more IT tools to help the organizers to be more effective. Also to try to put together some common resources and see how we can reduce costs buying some part of our needs for organizers together. Broadcasting and distribution, and I think the President already talked about it, but we put together a plan for broadcasting and distribution, and it was based, part of it, to these discussions with the organizers. So the meetings that we had transfer into a decision yesterday on the board of directors. And then we also discussed about this harmonization on timing and scoring that I think it's important because we want to have a good TV product and we need to have a good timing and scoring, and those are linked through the graphics on TV. So if we don't have standard product in timing and scoring and TV production, it will be hard to have a good product on TV. So we are working on that, we understand it, and we are working on that. And finally, two more things. One was, Thomas mentioned, multi-sport games. We were unluckily failing on the Commonwealth Games, but we will keep pushing for that, as Thomas said, that's our objective. We are also talking to Mediterranean Games. We were in Mediterranean Games till 2024, till 2018, sorry, and then we were removed in 2022. So now we are working with the Italian organizers in Taranto in 2026, and I would like to thank you, Luciano, because he's helping on that as Vice President of the Italian Olympic Committee to try to go back into the Mediterranean Games. And we will try to do this systematically to every multi-sport games to introduce especially give more visibility to our non-Olympic disciplines. And finally, I would like to have a quick talk about the Olympic Games. We have, I think it's the first time that we have 3 games in the row in front of us, already allocated. So we have Paris, where we have a very good relation, Tony. So all you know Tony, and it's a privilege to have him as Vice President and now the main person in Paris. So we were in a visit in Paris in this spring, and we discussed how we will be able to have more visibility as sport during Paris Games. So yeah, we start discussions with Paris and Tony, and also we have the asset of Cyril Nivel, who was our technical director for Willwater, who is now the canoeing sports director in Paris. So we have a good connection there, and we are trying to develop things together to highlight our 2 Olympic disciplines as better as possible. We also are in quick and close cooperation with Los Angeles. We had several meetings, and the last one was in June in Lausanne, where John Harper, the CEO, and the sports directors, the new sport director, was coming to Lausanne. We had an interesting meeting with them. As Thomas said, the venue for spring is already fixed in Long Beach. And one of the things that they asked us was to see how we can bring into Long Beach the recreational canoeing factor, because Long Beach is well recognized as a rowing spot for the locals, for the citizens, but how we can help to improve and increase the participation in canoeing. So that's one of our targets, to, after the games in Los Angeles, to have more visibility. Also, another thing that they point was that they will be able at the end of next year to start discussions about the new norm. As you are aware, the IOC put together what they call the new norm. They want to go into more sustainable games. They want to reduce costs. They want to get organizations that they are more sustainable and also easier to run. So what they're feeling is like IFs can be good partners running some events for them. So Los Angeles is start to analyzing that, and they said that at the end of next year, they can come with some potential proposals. So we are waiting for their proposals. So that means that with Los Angeles, we are on a good track. We are talking with the top people there, and we are having good feedback. So we feel that by next year we will have a clear kind of places allocated, and we will have a clear program for the games in 28. And finally, Brisbane 2032. I would like to say, first of all, thank you to Paddle Australia, because you have been very active supporting us to start discussions with Brisbane. And a memorandum of understanding is underway to ensure sustainability measures for the future. And we are working with Paddle Australia and Redlands, who is the city for the slalom venue, to finalize this memorandum of understanding. And that will be in line with our strategic plan. And the idea behind it is to help them to build a venue that is sustainable and that it's in some way that guarantee the legacy. So that's something that we have been criticized as a sport, that our venues are too expensive and the legacy sometimes is not there. So now, 10 years before the games, we start discussions with the constructors and with the investors on this venue on how to help and how to develop a better venue for the future of the sport, but also for Redlands as a city, and have a legacy afterwards around canoeing. So that means that we are in communication with the three hosts, that we are trying to develop a strategy behind the Olympic Games that guarantees that our medals and our quotas are warranted for the future. And said that, the last thing that I would like to say is that thanks to everyone that has been working this year, but it has been very tough. As a new team, has been a tough year to catch up with everything. I think now we are in a good track with the new Secretary General in position that will help us a lot to start thinking on new ideas that this year has been hard to implement because the season coming and the short notice. But we're pretty sure that we can start making good changes for our sport. And I would like just to hope that we can keep this momentum on the coming 2 years and all these ideas can become reality. Thank you, and I'm ready to answer any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Luis. It's not about one in a position in the executive committee, it's about a strong team, and I think you can realize that we have a strong team in place, and we are sharing responsibilities, tasks, and each of our executive member contributed with his special skills to success of our federation. And thanks again to Luis for his good job and hard work during the last year. Any questions to Luis? No questions, any comments, complaints, compliments? No, even no compliments. Okay, then we discussed a lot before the official Congress and sought out some of possible disputes. That's why I understand that there's no need to discuss things anymore, which are already clear. And you know that part of our participants are online, and we don't want to extend meetings too long because it's tiring in front of a laptop. That's why I want to thank you for your contribution here on the first day of our Congress. Let me remind you that we continue with our first workshop today at 3 o'clock, and then with the next one about development on 5:30. And let's meet together tomorrow, 9 o'clock here. Same room, same time as today, and promise we will start in time tomorrow. Any more comments, Mr. Secretary General?
Just simply to say that lunch is over at the other hotel, in the boats, well, in the restaurant just at the back of that hotel.
Thank you. Have still a nice day and enjoy the workshops, not the beach this afternoon.